And we're back on the Fowler Show. Now, I got to tell you, folks, it is so imperative and so important, and you know this is one of the missions of our show, that we find the way to inform, empower, and help folks get their voice back, especially when it comes to getting young people civically engaged. And beyond getting them civically engaged, we got to get them on the ballot, we got to get them to run, and we got to get them to win. I'm joined by a good friend, a new friend to the Fowler Show, but she'll be back, I promise you this much. She's the founder and co-director of LaunchProgress, an organization that works to get young people civically engaged and on the ballot. Poy Winichakul, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
This is a big deal. I got to tell you, Poy. I mean, I think we talk to folks all across the country, and I think and this is the whole thing, right? Like, I think this is the situation. Like, we're the only youngest syndicated progressive show, so we get it. But yeah. We can't be the only ones forever, right?
Right. I think there's a growing momentum around the country where we've, for the past 4 or 5 months since LaunchProgress has started, we've connected with thousands of people, thousands of progressives across the nation who are interested and really get this vision as well. And so we're not the only ones. There's lots of us out there, and we're ready to make that change.
So what is LaunchProgress for those folks out there that don't know?
Yeah, so LaunchProgress is a new organization. We're encouraging and supporting young progressives 18 to 35 to run for their first state or local office. The idea is that it's time now for young people, young progressives, to get our voices directly heard in politics. And the way that we see that happening is by being elected officials.
Now, Poy, I got to tell you, and I think this is such an important thing that people don't understand. So a lot of the regressive policies that we see across America, they're not really coming from Capitol Hill. They're not coming from the White House. A lot of them aren't even coming from state legislatures. They're coming from school boards. They're coming from like soil and land commissioners. They're coming from city councils, and people don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it really starts. The phrase that all politics is local is true. It starts from the ground up. It starts from your neighbor running for school board or town council. It starts from that young person being like, all right, I can run for state rep. This is something I can do. And it's just about encouraging those people who are strong advocates, who are the real public leaders, to step up and say, I want to do this in a really big way.
I love it, and I think you're so right. I think it's something that's like so important that folks get out there. They get out there. So how do you guys... I think that's always a question, right? So, yeah, young people should run for office. Yeah, they should be engaged. Yeah, they should vote. But we know why. But how do we do it?
Yeah. So what LaunchProgress is doing right now, what we're so lucky because we are, coming in at a time when young people are already going to the polls. People are starting to be civically engaged, and that's because a lot of the organizations that have come before us, Generation Progress and People for the American Way Foundation, a lot of these organizations have already paved the way and created a foundation to engage young people. Now it's about connecting the dots and leveraging it to the next level, and creating those pipelines that support people to be in leadership positions. So it's what LaunchProgress does is we're connecting those dots. We're working with allies. We're working to reach out and find those young progressives who are ready to take the next step, those ambitious leaders who are ready to be the voice and to really represent young people and the policies that we see that will shape our future.
And what is the biggest problem, you say? What's the biggest problem out there for young folks who are thinking about making the run for trying to sort of put their name on the ballot and put their names out there?
Yeah, I think it's running for office is really hard. It requires a lot of thinking, planning, sacrifice. And for young people, oftentimes we don't have the networks or the tools to fundraise and to make those connections for name recognition. So a lot of the challenges are just that we haven't had enough. We just don't have enough connections because we haven't been around we haven't been alive that long. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges, and then on a personal level, it's a confidence thing. It's like, Yeah, we see in the media, right? We see all the time that it takes thousands and millions of dollars to run for Congress or for these high-level positions. You need to have, so much power. You need to be probably slightly corrupt to run for office at higher levels. But at the local level, where you can really make an impact, like you were saying before, and where you can make your start, it's all possible. It's all possible. You can run for school board for, a few $1,000s, and with the support of organizations, like LaunchProgress, we're happy to help you do that, and other organizations as well.
And so we figured out how you do. So what does LaunchProgress do? If I'm a young person out there, they're listening to this show, they say, you know what, I heard what Poy was talking about. I know we have the support of the Fowler Show.
Yeah.
I'm going to run for office in, I don't know, Collington, Oklahoma. What happens next? We are heard in Collington. Shout out to them.
Yeah, so what you do is then we try to say, okay, well, what do you need now? A lot of it is just, a lot of people will come to us and say, I've been thinking about this, but I don't really know what this, I don't know what running for office means. A lot of the next steps that we suggest for people are then to to talk to young elected officials, and we're happy to make those connections. We have a bank of young elected officials who are happy to talk about their experience, but also training organizations after that. If you're really interested in gaining those skills to run for office, there are tons of training organizations out there, and we're happy to connect you to them, suggest you, and we've made these personal connections. So if some of them are selective or some of them cost a little bit of money, we can help you make those connections, and so you can get the resources that you need to develop to become a candidate.
I love it. I love it. And so how I hear, you guys seem to be the one-stop shop. Like, you guys are the grocery store for candidates getting ready to run for office. If I'm wrong, that sounds about right, right?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
You get everything you need. Better than they're not even the one-stop shop. They're like the Costco of young candidate making.
Yeah, but we try to put a little bit of Costco's like wholesale. What we try to do is put a little bit of individual flair to it too. So our kind of values that drive this too are, there are all these like huge organizations out there and super PACs that are really investing in short-term campaigns. What we want to do is we want to start at the local level and invest in individuals who are going to be the best public leaders out there, because we're not just investing in you now just so you can get your start and then you can just go away, but we're counting on you to be ambitious and to make a difference at higher level positions in the future. So it's this long-term investment, and this is where we can see that we can make an impact now.
I love it. I think it's a great thing. I think we need to see more young folks out there, and we need to get them engaged and empowered and in the process. So tell me, how many folks have you guys already worked with? How many young elected officials do we have currently, and better yet, how many young folks do we have that will be on this ballot coming up in 2014, if you know that?
Yeah, so we're still brand new, so right now what we're working on is connecting with people, just kind of just get the message out that, hey, you're young, you're progressive, you got a lot of you've maybe felt like you've got a lot going against you, but there are a lot of people out there who have run for office. They're young, they're progressive, and they've won. And so what we're trying to do is do this advocacy and media effort to show people that it's possible, and then we'll start working with candidates later in the spring.
I love it. Now, where can folks find out more about LaunchProgress?
Yeah, so we're at LaunchProgress.org, and we're a small organization right now with but have reached about 3,000 supporters in just a few short months. We're also, another thing is, we're really grassroots. We're small. We're 100% funded by individuals. Just average people with average contribution of under $100. So you can also go there to donate, to support us in any way, or sign up to volunteer, and for email updates to learn more. LaunchProgress.org.
Love it. Poy, thank you so much for being on the Fowler Show. We'll have to have her back, Liz, after the 2014 election when young people completely take over.
Yeah, you got it.
Right away. We'll have Poy back on the show. We'll have her on before then as well. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We'll be right back on the Fowler Show after this break. Don't you go anywhere.